I'd like you to sit on top of all your enemies. Everybody, praise the Lord. Welcome you to this morning service. Praise the Lord. And this is a month of fulfilling your priesthood ministry for the experience of a height over and above. And last week we began looking at what we call God's greatest vision. And we take our text from the book of Exodus chapter 19 from verse number 1. Praise the Lord. Can we rush back to that scripture? Exodus 19 from verse number 1. The Bible says, and in the third month, when the children of Israel were gone forth out of the land of Egypt, the same day came there unto the wilderness of Sinai, and they were departed from Rephidim, and were come to the desert of Sinai, and had pitched in the wilderness, and there Israel camped before the mount. And Moses went up unto God, and the Lord called him out of the mountain, saying, thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel, ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bare thee on my eagle's wings, and brought you unto myself. Now therefore, if you obey my voice indeed, and keep my commandments, ye shall be a peculiar treasure above all the peoples of the earth, for the whole earth is mine, and you shall be a kingdom of priests, a holy nation unto me. What is God's vision? God's greatest vision, everybody listen now, is to see all men that stepped out of Egypt serve him as priests. When God was talking to Moses, he wasn't talking to him concerning one person. He was talking to him concerning all the people. Everyone that came out of Egypt, everyone that stepped out of Egypt, which means God brought them out of Egypt to bring them into his service. The reason for which they were saved was that they served God. The office of priesthood is the office of service. The reason why they were delivered, first of all, was not for the milk and honey. It was not for them to eat manna. It was to serve God. Now, do you know the truth? The service of God is what necessitated every goodness they enjoyed. Every goodness they enjoyed, deliverance they had. Have you wondered why before he really sent them out, he sent Moses? What was Moses' message to Pharaoh? Let my people go that they may serve me. Let my people go that they may serve me. It was not let my people go so that they will go and lick honey and drink milk. No. It was not let my people go so that they can have gold. No. It's let my people go so that they can serve me. So service was the in thing. Service was the major thing. Service was the vision. Priesthood ministry was the concern of God. God wanted Israel to serve him as priest. God was not intending that one man should be a priest. Why? Because as a priest, there's an unction upon you. In those days, the anointing is upon three people. It's upon the priests, kings, and the prophets. So it's upon kings, because kings must be anointed to serve at that level of service unto God. Prophets are anointed so they can stand in the place of letting the people know the mind of God. The priests must be anointed so that they can intermediate between God and man. So these three people or three offices are the ones that has rights to the anointing. So if God was saying to Moses, I long for every man that came out of Egypt to serve me as a priest, what is God talking about? He wants everyone that stepped out of Egypt to be anointed. He doesn't want us to be out of Egypt and be without the oil of God. He wants that as we come out of Egypt, his hand is upon us. How will the world know that we are special people? His hand upon us. How will the world know that we are fearfully and wonderfully made? The hand of God upon us. How would they know that we are born of God, the hand of God upon us? Ladies and gentlemen, it's not welcoming being a child of God empty of oil, being a child of God without a mantle, being a child of God without the incubation of God, being a child of God without a trace of the hand of God upon your life. The world will bow to you because of the hand of God upon you. So I want you to be a priest so that you can carry my oil. So when you appear in the midst of many, my oil upon you will make the difference. Other men may wear the kind of trouser you wear, barb the kind of haircut you barb, speak the kind of language you speak, but there will be something different with you, because I in you makes the matter a different matter. I in you makes your case a special case. I in you will make it that when men are stranded, you can't be stranded. It will make it that when men are saying there's a casting down, I in you will make it possible that when men say there's a casting down, you will say there's a lifting up from here. I in you will make it that when men are stranded, I will open the door for you. I will even make a way for you, even in the wilderness. I in you will make it that when doors are locked, I go ahead of you to unlock the door, because the key of David is in my hands, and I lock, no man can open, and I open, no man can lock. God wants Israel to carry the oil of God so that they can be distinguished among all the nations, so that every eye that sees them will know these people are not the same with us. They may share in our complexion, they may speak the same language with us, but there's something different about them. Child of God, God wants everyone that stepped out of Egypt to carry the oil of the Most High. The same thing God is desiring. That was why 1 Peter chapter 2 says, but you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood. Revelation chapter 1 number 6, Bible said, and ye are designed to be a kingdom of, you are designed to be kings and priests unto our God. Remember, that was the first thing we taught on the first Tuesday of this month. So that as kings, you walk in authority. As priests, you serve. So you are an authority man with a servanthood mentality. Highly lifted, but highly humble. Lifted, but humble. Kingly, but with a servanthood heart. A lion, a lamb. Lion in terms of taking things by force. You roar. You stamp your authority and bind the devil, and he goes to hell. When you still come to church, you recognize the authority of God, recognize leadership, and you're submissive to leadership. God wants us to be people that are not just people. You want us to be people that knows that we are born of God into priesthood. Can I shock you? You're a priest. I think that amen is not too strong. I say you're a priest. You're a priest. If the Israel of old are meant to be priests, how much more the Israel of the new? Everything about the old is revealing the new. Old is new concealed. New Testament is old revealed. So everything you see in the Old Testament is the conciliation of the New Testament. You know, Bible says that the Old Testament is the New Testament in shadows. The shadows are not the real thing. So whatever you see in the Old Testament is a shadow. It's a shadow. It's a shadow. And what do shadows do? Shadows point you of original. Can you see my shadow? If you see my shadow, it shows you I am. Shadows reveals original. So the Old Testament reveals the New Testament. It reveals the Old New Testament. So when God was telling Moses, Israel, all that were delivered out of the hand of Pharaoh are delivered unto priesthood, is unveiling to us that the time is going to come that deliverer of all deliverers The one to whom will not just deliver, but will be the one to pay the price for deliverance. Jesus, Son of God. How many of us know that Moses delivered Israel, but he didn't die for them? He delivered them through the blood of a lamb. But there was a one greater who will not command Israel to pick lamb. He will be the lamb himself. Remember, we did that on the last day of a fast. Remember? Have you forgotten? How Moses told them, and God said, well, pick a lamb. And after 14 days, pick that lamb, keep that lamb 14 days. Have you wondered that Matthew chapter 1 said that between Jesus and it took 14 generations between the end of the dissolution and the birth of Jesus. And he said, pick the lamb and keep it in your house 14 days. 14 days in the Old Testament was 14 generations in Jesus. To prove also that the lamb that the blood was used to make a mark on the lintel was actually not the lamb, it was Jesus in disguise. So if through that lamb they were delivered, through the blood of that lamb they were delivered, and after the deliverance, everyone that was delivered through the mystery of the blood was made to be a priest. How much more now that it was not an animal that was a lamb, it was the man, the God himself that was the lamb. If through lamb men are meant to be priests, how much more through God himself we are meant to also be priests? I tell you, are you saved from God? You are a priest. I like you to begin to see yourself like that. I'm a priest. That is a revelation you must never forget. Carry that consciousness anywhere you get to. Carry your vessel. I'm a priest. You are not just ordinary. You are not just a priest, a royal priest. In the Old Testament, priests, they don't do anything. They only stay in the house of God. They only serve in church. But royal priests, they no longer sit in church alone. They have their business in the market. They have their business in the school. But yet, they are still priests. Which means, as they go to school, they carry their priestly office to school. They minister to people in the school. They go to market. They carry their ministry to the market. They're everywhere. Anywhere you see them, they may be transacting in money, transacting souls back to the kingdom of God. Ministry is going on, business is going on, ministry is going on. Akamakabaya. I don't know who I'm talking to. That's who you're going to be. You have a client and you're quoting money in billions. I want to handle that contract for you in China. This is how much. You're talking business and you're doing priesthood. I'll give you the contract. Thank you, sir. But you know, far more than the contract, do you know Jesus loves you? Do you know Jesus loves you? Do you know the Bible said, for your sake he died? The death of Jesus was the revelation of God's love. The person will be wondering, are you a pastor? He said, no, I'm not just a pastor, but I am a priest in the marketplace. And if the person wants to ask you more, tell him, well, where is your church? This is my pulpit. I'm preaching to you now. You don't need to come to church to hear the message. I am the message carrier. I'm giving it to you now. Now, do you know what it means? As the priest of the New Testament, they don't need to come to church. We go for them. In the Old Testament, they have to come to the synagogue. They have to come to Jerusalem. It's when they come that forgiveness will be done. It's when they come that sacrifice will be made. But for our sake, the sacrifice has been done. They don't need to come to the temple for it to happen. We carry what has been done to them. We don't wait for them to come. We go for them. Eli used to say in the temple, men has to come. All the Old Testament, they need to stay in the temple for men to come. But we don't wait for them to come. We go for them. Because it was their coming that brought the sacrifice. For our sake, the sacrifice is already done. So they don't need to come for it. We take what has been done to them. Can I say it again? You are the priest. Oh, Akayaba. I thought I would have had your voice more than that. I'm a priest. Say it as if you believe it. Say it as if you believe it. And say, in the name of Jesus, I shall begin from today to deploy, to fulfill my priestly assignment. Anywhere I found myself, I am the priest of a place. Lift your voice and give the Lord a shout. Sit down. I want you to know that man was designed to serve. The nature of man is servanthood. And if a man refuses to serve God as a priest, other forces will make you to serve it. If you stay without service, either you serve sickness or you serve trouble. Can I show you something? Deuteronomy chapter 28. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse number 46. 46. If you refuse to serve the Lord, you will serve other things. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seeds forever. Verse 47. For because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things, therefore thou shalt serve thine enemy. Have you seen? Have you seen? So you can't dodge it. As a man, you are designed to serve. But look at it here. It says, Kadabaha. Therefore, because thou servest not the Lord thy God. Thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things. It now says, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemy, which the Lord will send against thee in hunger, in thirst, in nakedness, and in the want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon your neck, until ye be destroyed by it. Let it make sense to you. You know, I've seen people that tell them to do something, they say, no, I'll not. Give them the apartment. I'll not. Please, I'll not. The Bible says that if you refuse to serve the Lord your God with joyfulness of heart, you refuse, you will not be free. You will serve your enemy. You will serve what you don't want. You know, if you refuse to serve man, you will serve poverty. Poor people are those that has refused to produce product that will bring comfort to another. What is service? Bringing forth what gives another comfort. You know, when we serve the Lord, what are we doing? We are bringing comfort to God. Service is me doing for God what God should have been doing if he's here on earth. And because God is not here, I do the things God is meant to be doing. And naturally, when I do for a man what that man cannot do for himself, the next thing is that the man pays me. How many of you came to church today with Uber? Uber driver did for you what you can't do for yourself. That's why you must pay Uber driver. If you didn't have polish in your house, or you have polish in your house, but you are too big to polish your shoe, and you call a cobbler to polish your shoe, as he polishes the shoe, what will you do? You pay him. Anytime a man does for you what you can't do for yourself, you are obligated to pay the man. Ladies and gentlemen, when we also do for God what God cannot do for himself, he pays us. So service is God's payment scheme. Service is God's payment scheme. Service is God's payment structure. That's why he wants everyone that was saved out of Egypt to serve him. Why? Because in Egypt they served, but they were not paid. So he wants to teach them that as you serve Pharaoh, Pharaoh didn't pay you. Pharaoh used you. I am different from Pharaoh. You are designed for service. Come and serve me now and see how I'll reward you. Ladies and gentlemen, service is the payment scheme of heaven. It's a structure put in place that man be rewarded by his maker. Now, to step out of bondage and stay away from service is to go back to slavery. Service or priesthood defends you from slavery. If you refuse to serve, you will serve the enemy as a slave. But if you accept to serve, you will serve your maker as a son. So you either live as a son, serving your maker, or live as a slave, serving your hater. It's your choice. It's your choice. I want to say it again. To step out of bondage and stay away from priesthood is to go back to slavery. Exodus 23:25. And ye shall serve the Lord your God, and he will bless thy bread, and thy water. Why will you serve him? Now, do you know the truth? I read it this morning. The Holy Ghost opened my eye to something. Somebody watch now. And ye shall serve the Lord your God, and he will bless thy bread and thy water. Can I shock you? He didn't say you shall serve the Lord your God and he will give you bread. Being free is an entitlement to bread. Being free and serving is what brings the blessing upon the bread that is entitled because you're free. You see, immediately you leave the place of servitude, you are free from sin, you are launched into a realm of provision. God begins to provide for you. God begins to take care of you. But what God has given you, will he carry the blessing? You may have money that lacks the blessing. If your cash lacks blessing, it will finish. You may have bread, but the blessing is not upon the bread. You may have water. Have you not seen people that after eating, the sickness came? Which means the bread they ate gave them sickness. But there's also what we can do to make sure that whatever God gave us collects the blessing. Serve the Lord your God, he will bless thy bread. The bread is already thy own. So God comes to bless it because even though it was your own, you served. So naturally, we are meant to have bread. But the bread must be blessed if we serve. Are we together? Am I confusing you? Are you following me? So it's one thing to have bread, but it's another thing to make sure the bread is blessed. What do I do to make sure that my bread is blessed? I serve the Lord with my bread. He blesses the bread for me. Likewise my water. Kabadabahayas. Zebedebegadabaha. He now says, I will take sickness away from thy midst. Do you know why? Because he has already taken you out of sickness. He will take sickness away from you. Now, when you became a child of God, he took you. Bible says he took you out of the kingdom of darkness and has brought you to the kingdom of light. So he took you out of the kingdom of darkness where sickness can attack you. So you are in a place that sickness cannot attack you. But there might be sickness that is already in you before you left. So he now said, as you learn to serve me, even though I've taken you out of sickness, but there's one around you. I will take you out of sickness, but because you served me, I will take the one in you away. Does that make sense? Now, you can be free from sickness, but you are not free from the one in you. So that he brought you out, it's your service that will make him help you free you from the one in you before you came out. Have you not seen people who came out of village, but village is still in them? So he's now saying, well, as you come out of village, begin to serve me, then the service will give me access in taking the village in you away. It's not the village you're coming from that is the challenge. It's the one in you. It's not he that is killing you that's the problem. It's the one in you that is killing you that's the challenge. Most of the time, we are concerned about what is around us. What is around you can't stop you. It's the one in you that can hinder you. He now says, the one in you that can hinder you, but you begin to serve, I begin to work in you. Have you wondered why John chapter 15, Bible said, he that beareth much fruit, my Father worketh on him. You're already a child of God and you're bearing fruit. He said, my Father walk in you. My Father will prune you. Any branch in me that beareth no fruit, I will cast away. But the one in me that beareth fruit, I prune. I walk on him. So God begins to work within you to make sure that nothing in you stopped you. Because nothing around you can hinder you. He delivered you from what is around. But with service, you create a pathway that he will deliver you from what is within you. Are we together? This is why you must serve. If you refuse to serve, you are free from the devil. But what of the one in you? Service creates the pathway that the one in you that will have limited you will not limit you. And you serve with all your heart. You are not begged to serve. You serve with the consciousness of who you are serving. Do you know that consciousness of who you are serving is what determines the quality of a service? When you know who you are serving and you have respect of who you are serving, that is what makes the difference. If you don't know who you are serving, you'll be serving because man watches you. You'll be a priest with an eye service. If nobody is there, you won't do it. If somebody is there, you are running around like peacock. You are trying to play the game that everybody will see I'm the one doing it. But when you're left alone, you can't even pray. Left alone, you are busy doing every other thing, but you won't do the things of God. Friends can come around you. You have your mouth is caged to preach. But when you come to church, you can rattle in tongue. We know. We're here. That one is eye service. That one doesn't close book for you. That one has no reward for you. But when nobody is there, the one you do, that is actually the one that gives you pass mark. It is what men do in the private that gives them an opening in the public. God doesn't validate us by what we do in the public. God validates by what we do when we're alone. Who you are when you're alone. How your heart longs for God. How serviceable you are. How available you are. Can I shock you? There are people that is only in church. They remember I belong to God. When they leave service, church is on its own. Both your word, your behavior, your attitude, nothing reflects. But when you appear before people, you want to show everybody you are something. Hey, cool temper. God judges the inward. Men judges the outward. But men that judges the outward don't reward you. They can only clap for you. But the one that will actually reward you is the one that sees the inward. That heartbeat for God must be whether in the public or in the open. You are too conscious of your priesthood to deliver at all times. When you're alone, most of the things you're asked to do, that's when you create, that's when you think about it. That's when you structure it. You're asked to be the head usher. That's when, in your private, that's when you structure it. It's not when you come to church, you're running up and down. No. That's when you structure it. That's when you put it in place. This is what I'm asked to do. That's when you study about it, pray about it, put things in place. So you come to execute when we gather together. Am I talking to anybody? Lift your hand and say, I hear. Say it again, I hear. Shout it again, I receive the grace to carry the consciousness. I am a priest of God. I will serve the Lord, and by my serving the Lord, I'll create a pathway for God to deliver me from the limitations that are internal. Lift your voice and shout an amen like a thunder. Now look at this. He said, and I will send fear before thee, and will destroy all the people whom thou shalt come unto, and I will make all thine enemies to turn their backs. Poverty will see you turn his back, because you are serving one greater than poverty. Sickness will see you and run away, because you are serving one who did not just kill sickness, he took it away and nailed it at the cross. Am I talking to anybody? If you serve a higher master, lower masters bows to you. Am I talking to anybody? If God be the highest and you are serving him, hey, any other thing lower than God will see you and bow. You can't spoil a man's servant. His master will deal with you. I am a servant of the Most High God. Look at Elisha. Elisha came to the point. Bible said 42 boys. We are attacking him to destroy him. Elisha said, well, if it is this God I'm serving, but the mantle I collect, let lion come out of the bush and devour. Lion came out and ran all of them to death. Why? How can you insult a servant of the Most High? When you are a servant of the Most High, sickness cannot insult you. It will come in one way, in 7 ways it will disappear. What are you meant to be doing? Hey, poverty cannot dare you. It may want to come, but you are heavily guarded, heavily protected. The world's grace around you is too much. It will try to come, but you are blocked. Why? Because the world's grace around you is mega. Somebody hear me. We don't achieve wealth because we work hard. We achieve wealth because the power to make wealth is in us. And in the place of service, we grow that energy to make wealth. That's why most professions you see in the world today, they began in the church. They developed it in the church. By serving God in church, you can develop leadership, you can develop management, you can develop organization. There are things you develop. Each time assignment is given to you and you deploy your mind, the Holy Ghost start training you, giving you instructions and maturity that nobody can give you. The ability to manage a department in church can help you manage your business and it will grow. Give somebody an ushering department and is able to grow an ushering department to 50 people in a church. Ladies and gentlemen, give that person a business, he will grow the staff strength of that business. Growth is growth. And if you don't learn how to grow things, nothing will grow around you. Am I actually talking? Shabadabahaya. Krabadabaya. What do you do whenever you felt saved? Whenever you felt delivered? Commit to service. Commit to service. Matthew 8:14. And when Jesus was coming to Peter's house, he saw his wife's mother laid of sickness of fever, and he touched her hands, and the fever left her, and she rose up immediately and began to minister unto him. Catch wisdom there. Anytime God helps you, heal you, deliver you from poverty, see what you're meant to do. And he touched her, and the fever left her. Her own is fever. Your own may be poverty. Your own may be lack. Your own may be sickness. Your own may be fear. Anytime you're delivered from anything, do like Peter's mother-in-law did. Bible said, and she arose and began to minister to her. What does that mean? God doesn't want you to function as a priest with infirmities. God doesn't want you to minister as a priest with infirmities. So what God does is that God will heal you, deliver you, set you free, bring you out of poverty for you to serve him. But if God brings you out, you refuse to serve, you'll be caged back by what you're delivered from. Are we together? What does that mean? Priesthood is the oil of defense. It didn't make sense to you. Priesthood is the oil of what? Defense. From going back from what you are delivered from. If you don't want what you are delivered from to catch up with you, what do? Serve. That was what this woman did. Immediately she was delivered from fever, she committed to service so that fever will not have a space of coming back. Have you wondered that the one that serves you, you defend? The one whom you serve to will defend you. So she learned the wisdom. As Jesus set me free, I began to minister to him so that if that fever wants to come again, Jesus will deal with him, because you cannot afflict another man's servant. I am his servant ministering to him. For what I do for him, he will never allow that fever to come again. That's wisdom. That's wisdom. Anytime there's deliverance, commit to service. Commit to service. If you can commit to service, or priesthood becomes your defensive mechanism. Service will defend you. Laki Bokabaya. That place we read where the Bible talked about and I said, and I will send my fear before thee to destroy all the people that thou shalt come to. He said, I will make thy enemies to turn their back. He said, I will send hornet before thee, which shall drive out the Hittites, the Canaanites, the Hittites from before thee. What is that? What does that? Because you are serving God now, God will send hornet before you, so that those who are occupying your portion, hornet will go and pursue them. When you arrive, your place is made clear for you to occupy. Serve the Lord. Am I talking? Lift your hand and say, I will serve. Say it again, I will serve. Say it again, I will serve. Okay, write down these few things. The oil of priesthood is the oil of service. Priesthood is a call to handle the needs of God. A call to handle the needs of God. 1 Peter 2 and verse 9. But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people, that he shall show forth. You see, show forth the praises of he who has called us out of darkness unto the marvelous light. So he called us out of darkness that we may show forth his goodness. So it's a calling to serve, a calling to handle kingdom matters, a calling to become positioned in taking care of the affairs of he who delivered you. He delivered you, he didn't pay anything. How do you appreciate him? Service is the appreciative force that makes you tell God, I really, really love what you've done for me. Am I together? Are we together? Now somebody will say, well, but I'll be coming to church now praying. What are you praying for? God, give me a car. God, give me health. Is that service? No, that's not service at all. Number 2, the oil of priesthood is the oil of defense. It protects you as a priest of God. Protects you as a priest of God. That's why he said, and you shall serve the Lord your God, and he will bless thy bread. So he protects you from poverty, from bread that will not last the test of time. He will drop the blessing upon your bread so that the bread will keep on multiplying itself. Remember the bread in the hand of a little boy, in the hand of Jesus, multiplying to 12 baskets. So the blessing is released upon your bread so that the bread will satisfy you and will not run dry. Glory to God. Hallelujah. It's the oil of defense. I will take away sickness away from you. That's defense. I will, that none of you shall, that you shall not cast your young. That's your defense. Glory to God. And you shall not be barren. That's defense. That's defense. You shall not be barren in the land. He said now in the land, okay? He says the number of your days I will fulfill. That's defense. So you will not die before your time. God will not allow untimely death to come. But even if it comes, God will deliver you. Am I talking to anybody here? Number 3, the oil of priesthood is the oil of reward. If you want to see how God rewards men, serve. Bible says that God is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. He's a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 58. Therefore, my beloved brethren, be ye steadfast, immovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, knowing that your labors in God are not in vain. There is no work done for God that is in vain. For anything done, there's a day of reward. Now, the day of reward may not be the day you want it, but definitely there's a day that reward will come. Bible says God does not make all things beautiful in your own time. He makes all things beautiful in his own time. So there's a day that God will reward you. And when God comes to reward you, that is when you will need it. When you want God to reward you, you want it. God doesn't supply to your want, he supplies to your needs. So you want it now. God knows if he give it to you now, it is a want. It will not solve your problem. You may have it now and may still be in need, but God may allow it to delay. Kayabaga. Delaying is not denial. Hear me and hear me well. At the proper time it will come, and when it will come, you will thank God that it delayed. I believe that Mordecai began thanking God. God, thank you because the king did not reward me before Haman tried to kill me. The king's reward was on the day the enemy has come to kill me. So it was a reward against the plan of the enemy. And the reward of God is superior to the plan of the enemy. God's reward knocked away the strategy of Haman to kill Mordecai. The same gallows Haman put in place to destroy Mordecai became the gallows that Haman's head was cut off with. What a beautiful testimony. What they plot to kill you, service delivered to you and put the man who has brought it to be the one that will be killed by what they brought. Somebody serve. Hey, serve. Oh, men serve rich men and they are made rich. How much more you serving the owner of the whole universe? The one that made rich men rich. How wealthy will you be? Don't be deceived. God is a maker of men. God is a helper of men. No man can help you like God. We want to serve man, but we ignore serving God. That's foolishness. You are serving he that was made, and God who made him is asking you to serve him, and you are there folding your hands. Be wise. You can't serve the king maker and not be a king. God is not asking you to serve a king. He's asking you to serve the king maker. Most of us want to serve kings. Don't you know kings are made? There's a man that ordained the king. He He now says, serve the kingmaker. If you serve the kingmaker, don't you know that he will also make you the king, because the oil of kingship is in his hands? Serve him with all your heart. Serve him dangerously. I told you, I started serving at 16. Till now, I can't regret serving him. I can't regret serving him. There are testimonies I can't share. But if I share them, maybe some of you overnight you won't sleep. I have seen God help me. I've seen God fought my battle on the altar of service. The oil of priesthood is the oil of reward. You want to see God reward you? And you know the reward of God lasts the test of time. One reward can settle you in eternity. One reward, just one reward. And I'm praying for somebody that this year, that one reward that will settle you for life will come upon you. And then that's why the devil wants you to quit serving. He wants you to serve small and relax. He knows that when you relax, you shortcut your blessing. Number what? Number 4, the oil of priesthood is the oil that strategically positions you for the use of God and makes you the helper of men. Anytime God begins to using a man, that man becomes a helper to man. You want to be a helper to man? Submit yourself as an agent that will be used by God. The oil of priesthood positions you strategically to become the one that can be used by God. And in as much as God uses you, God makes you a helper of men. Helpers of men are those that are instruments being used by God. The more God uses you, the more you become a helper to men. The more God uses you, the more you become the man that men will look up to. Are we together? How many of you want men to look up to you? I love that. I know you too, you love it. Men are looking up to you. How will you get to that level where men start looking up to you? Become the one that God uses. God using you is a qualification for men looking up to you. Glory to God. We close with this. Why was God desiring that all that are saved shall function as priesthood? Number 1, the priesthood mantle is for the demystification of mysteries. Priesthood mantle demystifies mysteries. It demystifies mysteries. I'll show you now. It demystifies mysteries. It breaks the power of mysteries. Ladies and gentlemen, there are mysteries on earth. What are mysteries? Secrets that are unknown. There are things that are happening in the surface. You think it's all about the surface happening. They are spiritual demons. They are spiritual powers making it to happen. Can I shock you? Nothing just happened. Anything you see happening has a fire making it happen. They say no smoke without fire. Anywhere you see smoke, fire is burning. There is no house without foundation. Anything you see happening in the surface, there's a foundation making it to happen. Have you wondered why you've done everything you're meant to do? Nothing is working. There's a mystery behind it. Have you wondered why your mates you started with are ahead of you? There's a mystery behind it. Child of God, where you are today, there's a mystery that constructed it. You suddenly began to prosper. There's a mystery. Nothing just happened. Can I shock you? Nothing spiritual can happen if there are no spiritual flows around. A man is a spirit. Everything you see in the physical is actually a proof that there is a force somewhere. Physical things doesn't come by itself. Every physical thing you see is masterminded by the spiritual. Don't take physical things for granted. Something is remote controlling, but you can come to a point whereby you become the one remote controlling. You are either being remote controlled or you become the one who by spiritual connection, spiritual sacrifices, you begin to remote control your life. Child of God, don't just take physical things for granted. Everything physical is being worked from a side that eyes doesn't see. By faith we know that the walls were framed by a spoken word, so that the things we see were meant to be from the things we don't see. That's scripture. Anything you've seen, it came from the side man doesn't see. So there's what you don't see that is creating or making what you see to happen. Are you seeing sickness? There's what you don't see that is making it to happen. or the woman that was bent over. Jesus said, how come this woman, being a daughter of Abraham, was bent over 18 years by a spirit of infirmity? So men saw her twisted, but there was a spirit of infirmity involved. So such mysteries, the oil of priesthood demystifies them. I'll give you an account. We'll close with that. Joshua chapter 1. That's where we'll close. Joshua chapter 1. Oh, chapter 6, sorry. 6 verse 1. Now, Jericho was strictly shut up because of the children of Israel. None went out. None came in. Now, do you know, look at it, Israel. Somebody follow me now. Israel was just moving, and God told them, well, there's a land I'm telling you, land of milk and honey. And suddenly they got to a place, there was a thick wall. And they stood by. And upon that thick wall, there was a gate. And the gate was shut. Look at the statement, that nothing comes out, nothing goes in. Lockdown. Lockdown didn't start in our time. It started in scripture. Nothing goes out, nothing comes in. Economy stands still. Movement stands still. No receiving, no releasing. Remain as you are. And as you remain as you are, eating the one you have. And as you are eating the one you have, keep getting poorer and poorer and poorer. It's a system. It's a demonic system. Now, do you know, before now, when I read this story, I feel it's just a story. I read it a few days ago. The Holy Ghost told me it's not just a story, it's a system. It's a system to frustrate Israel. Israel were God's people. They've come to a point whereby they are meant to progress. A wall came against them. And upon that wall, there's a gate. Upon that gate, their life was checkmate. Their life was kept on one spot. Stay where you are. Nothing comes out. Nothing goes to you. Remain as you are. And as you remain as you are, keep on eating what you have until with your mouth you finish everything you have and poverty will kill you. And most people are like that. You've come to that point whereby you are just stranded. Nothing is coming in. Nothing is coming out. Nothing is. The little one you're having, you are massively spending. And at such times, you don't have, nothing is not coming. Nothing is coming in. That's when they need to spend more. You just see that what you have is going down, is going down, is going down, is going down, is going down. It gives us worry. And we don't know what to do. Sometimes we are told, well, it's just normal. It's not normal. I found that it was a system. Can we read down verse 2? And the Lord God said unto Joshua, see, I have given into thy hands Jericho, Kaya. Even though Jericho was given to him, but yet Jericho was locked against him. I pray for somebody today. Anything that was given to you that is locked against you, may the hand of God, as I'm teaching now, work what is meant to you to come for you. Any hand that is holding what is meant to come to you, I command, may that hand be cut off. And amen, like a thunder, grace locates you. The loudest amen be no more for a testimony. I came from God to prophesy to somebody today. What belongs to you is coming to you. What belongs to you is coming to you. The money that belongs to you is coming your way. Favors that belongs to you is coming your way. God said to him, well, see, Jericho has been given to you, but Jericho was locked down. How can what God gave to me, how can I receive it? How can I be a man who will receive the prophecy? There is a prophecy over your head. Jericho belongs to you. The mountain belongs to you. Money belongs to you. A millionaire status belongs to you. Property belongs to you. You have had the testimony, but you don't have access. Gates are locked against you. I come by the hand of God prophesying, may the gate that will lead you to the place where God said your portion is, may that gate open now. Lift up your heads, all ye gates, and be ye lifted up, ye ancient doors, that glory may come in. I prophesy again, every head upon the gate that is occupying your portion, every head upon the gate that is meditating against your gate being open, every head upon your gate saying, because of gate you cannot gain entrance, I prophesy, may that head be cut off. And as the head is cut off, may the gate open for you. The gate of wealth will open for you. The gate of health will open for you. The gate of comfort will open for you. The gate of speed will open for you. The gate of power will open for you. Lift your voice and shout an amen and establish your cause. Shakabada bakada. Zedebegedash. Jericho is dying, but Jericho is locked. Can we read down? Verse 3 now says, and ye shall compass the city, all of you men of war, and go around it, and go around the city, go around the city once. Thus shalt thou do 6 days. Somebody listen now. God now said to them, well, don't worry, each day go around Jericho. And they know the instruction. As they were going around Jericho, they shouldn't say anything. So suddenly, Jericho and the spirits that locks men from accessing the gates that gives them access to their portion, as God has declared, which means God can declare, systems can stop you. God can declare systems. Have you not wondered why God declared David is a king of Israel, anointed, but by operations of systems he could not access the throne until 13 years? Was it not what God said? I have rejected Saul. I was thinking that, how can God reject Saul? And still, Saul is still there. Who enthroned Saul? Is it not Samuel? He would have said, Samuel, remove him. But Samuel couldn't remove Saul. Saul was still seated there, 13 good years. The man God called a king, anointed a king, was still a king, but not having access to the throne. Many of us are like that. Your throne is occupied by another. Your portion, the access to your portion is locked. The gate of Jericho is locked, but Jericho and his powerful men is in the hand of Joshua. Jericho belongs to you. When I studied, my heart bleeded. How I feel that what I felt when I read it, you will also feel it. You can be able to download and understand this message. I felt it. This is mine. God has told me. I can see it. I can feel it, but I don't have access to it. What a frustration. Because the gate you are locked, nothing comes out, nothing goes in. You know it is your own, but the access you don't have. The assignment this morning is to unlock the gate and give you access. If I'm you, my amen will have been better than that. So as I said before, God can give portions, but systems can stop you. So there was a system here. So God has to deploy systems to destroy the system that hindered the gates. And when the system of God was deployed, not just that the gate opened, the wall crashed. The system crashed the wall. He said to them, once every day, walk around Jericho, don't say anything. So Jericho will see men who are just walking around. I believe Jericho will be saying, let them say something so we know how to reply. Them keeping quiet simply means, how many of you know that silence is a voice? As they kept quiet, what was working against them was being worked against. See, nothing destroys you like you talking too much. So they were just walking around, quiet, walking around. And God now said to them, see, verse 4, and 7 priests shall bear before thee the ark of 7 trumpets of rams, and on the 7th day you shall encompass the city 7 times. So look at it, once a day for 6 days. On the 7th day, go around the same wall 7 times. How many times? 7 plus 6. How many? 13 days. It now says, when you get there, it says, both you and the priest shall release a shout. 13 times of not talking. As they were quiet, moving around the system, they were gathering energy, gathering strength, gathering strength, gathering strength, to be able to kill and destroy the force behind Jericho. Jericho was not just a wall. Jericho was a spiritual authority. And child of God, you don't understand that the wall before you is a spiritual authority. There's a reason why you plan to rise, suddenly you didn't rise. You planned that this year you will be the best. Suddenly you became the worst. You wrote and said, this year I would do this, I would do. At the end of it, you didn't do anything. You think it's by chance? No, there is a force working on you. But for them to be able to decode that force, he said, Jericho is in your hand, gather out the men of war. But he says to them, after gathering the men of war, let them not use the sword, because this battle is not sword matter. Let them not use the gun. This battle is not gun matter. Let them deploy the priests. Let them carry the trumpet. So after they must have walked seven days, on the seventh one, on the seventh day, the priest should blow the trumpet. And when the priest blows the trumpet, ladies and gentlemen, the people should give a shout. And when the people give a shout, the wall will crash. Which means priesthood backed up with spirituality that is gained by revelation will demystifies mysteries. Priesthood, because men of war were there, but it was not just the men of war. Men of war were there. Strategies was put in place. Walk around Jericho every day once. On the seventh day, walk around Jericho 7 times. As they're walking around Jericho, God was using their silence and the obedience and was dealing with the foundation behind the walls. The foundation behind the reason why Jericho has been given to you, but you don't have access. Money has been given to you, you don't have access. Marriage has been given to you. Any lady you approach to marry will say, I don't want to marry you. You see yourself always with revelations, much money around you. In your dreams, you see yourself driving cars. But on earth, even the slippers you are using has opened. The under it has opened. So the reality of your spirituality is not being made visible in your carnal nature. Our carnal nature is meant to be the proof of our spirituality. In God you pray. In God, when you talk, somebody will say, what a man. What a man that has the hand of God. But yet, you speak it, people are convinced you have the hand of God upon you. But show us now. It ends in you talking. After you finish talking, you say, bros, please, can you give me transport fare to go home? God punish the devil. There is a system working against you. And today, may that system crash. You can feel it, you can see it. Oh, when somebody is sick, you tell them, well, my God can heal. Oh, he himself took away your infirmities and healed. But when you finish quoting it, you get back to your house. Sickness is dealing with you every day. So what you are saying, you can experience. Even teach people, do it this way to work. They will do it to work. You too will go and do the same thing, it will fail. What is the answer to that mystery? That deploying of the priesthood. Get the men of war. Walk around Jericho. Involve the priest. If it was something that men of war can do, their sword will have been used. God will have told them, go and borrow Monday hammer. Go and borrow payloaders, bulldozers. So as they are walking around, be bulldozing the wall. They say, don't say anything. In your silence, I walk. Have you wondered? He says, be still and know that I'm the Lord. In you being still, God is seeing confidence in you towards him. In you being still, God is seeing faith in you towards him. And that faith will move the hand of God to walk and bring you to victory, even when you don't have the energy for victory. He now said, on the 7th day, let Israel, let the priest blow the trumpet. And when they blow the trumpet and the people hear the trumpet, the people will shout. And as they shout, I will switch in. That mystery will be broken. Oil of a priesthood is the oil of demystifying mysteries. If there are mysteries in you, if there are mysteries against you, deploy the oil of priesthood. How do you do that? Number 1, stand in your office as a priest. Stand in your office as a priest. At this level, who are you? You are a priestly servant. Stand in your office as a priest. At this level, who are you? You are a priestly servant. A priestly servant. A priestly servant. engaging in kingdom service. Priestly servant engaging in kingdom service. And number two, be humble enough to be submissive to be submissive under a priest. What kind of priest is that? Keep yourself under a priestly shepherd. So look at it this way: I am a priest serving. I am a priestly servant, and I am under a priest who is a priestly shepherd. Look at it: priest with the trumpet, priestly shepherds. Priests walking around Jericho in service, priestly servants. When priestly servants connect with priestly shepherds, power is released. Anytime priestly servants connect with priestly shepherds, I'm telling you, there will be mysteries that will be demystified. Do you know, as you are serving God in church and the priestly shepherd is declaring over you, it works like magic. It works fast. It works sharp. But if you're not a priestly servant and a priestly shepherd is ministering to you, it may not work. There is a connection between a priestly servant and a priestly shepherd that releases the force that breaks mysteries. I'll close with this. Hannah and Eli. Hannah was a priestly servant. Eli was a priestly shepherd. Hannah has been going, but the mystery behind her barrenness, nobody can understand. She's been going to Shiloh, but she has never encountered the priestly shepherd one-on-one. I didn't know about this before. God taught me early this morning that there is a connection between a priestly servant and a priestly shepherd. All of us that are born again, we are the priest of God. Please ask that young man to sit up here in church. We all are priestly servants, but we need to submit to priestly shepherds. When the oil of priestly shepherds connects with the oil of priestly servants, every mystery shall be demystified. It didn't make sense to you? You didn't catch it? On that day, Eli said to Hannah, "Why are you drunk this early morning?" Hannah said, "Thy servant is not drunk. I'm just pouring out my heart unto God. Out of the vexation of my soul, I'm pouring my heart out." And Eli said, "Let it be done unto you." That was the end of it. All the years Hannah has been going to Shiloh, but nothing, there was no change. All you need, everybody, is to submit yourself as a priestly servant. And after you must have submitted yourself as a priestly servant, be humble under a priestly shepherd. These two oils will demyxify every mystery and give you access to portions that are yours that you cannot gain access to. I can testify. I've seen people in this church who joined this church, things were not good, and they joined serving as priestly servants. And I keep on ministering to them as priestly shepherd. In a space of time, their portions were in their hands. One of us here on Sunday came and blessed me. He said, I said, "Dad, did you remember me?" I said, I can't. I know your face, but he said, before the fast, or when the fast started, you were entering your office, and I was begging you. He said they should allow me to come in. He said, when I came in, I told you, I said, "Sir, my father's house is struggling. He said, today my mother was crying, and I cried to church, and I'm crying to God. God, have mercy. I don't know what to do." He said, "Nobody is doing well in my father's house. Nobody. He said, so I said, "What do I do?" He said, "Sir, you kept quiet for a while." And he said to me, "Join in the fast. Before the fast finishes, you make your mother happy." He said, I joined. He said, before the fast finished, he says, I didn't just make my mother happy, I made my mother over happy. Because what was not working for me suddenly began to work. He says, I cannot explain what happened. He said, I cannot explain what happened. I can never explain what happened. He said, I'm the least in my father's house, but now, within these few weeks, I am the best. I am the head. My seniors are looking for me. My father, my uncles' children are calling me. Because of the fact that I said, just keep on. And he said he kept on. He joined sanctuary every Saturday. You come and clean. What does that mean? Priestly servant connecting with priestly shepherd brings a turn around. Somebody, don't be in church and not be a priestly servant. All of us here today, you are meant to be a priestly servant, serving God, solving problem to God. Whenever they call certain areas, you are there. If they say ushering department, the first name that should come up should be your name. Not ushering department, they will count 1, 2, 3, 4 before they reach you. You are an usher not with excellence. You are an usher with mediocrity. You are not an usher with excellence. If they call prayer force, you are the best in scriptures. You are the best in connecting heaven. When you lead prayers, men does not just pray, they catch revelation. You are the best in protocol. Any assignment, in counseling. When you counsel, God is my witness that I know. When I was Pastor 4, my duty was to counsel first timers. Do you know? I can count women that came to church. One of them came to church, said, I didn't like the church, but what kept me was you. The day first time I came, the way you talked to me, I could see love in your heart. I could see commitment. I could see your heart loving God. I said, I won't be in that church because of anything, but because of you. I was a young man. I was just in my 20s. Said, I will be in this church because of you. And you know the truth, I never know she used to have diabetes. One day we got talking. Now, she volunteered her car. I had no car then. She volunteered her car. Every Sunday when we finished, I told her, I called you up. I said, when service finishes, let's go and look for those who didn't come to church. So we said, okay. I said, okay, we'll be contributing some money. Say, I'll donate my car. She donated her car. So every service, as service finishes, as service is done, we are marking the name of people who are not in church. So when service finishes, we'll visit them before we go home. So one day we visit and we are coming back. I was alone with her in the car. She was going to drop me. She started telling me, said, do you know when my money goes on health, I am suffering. I am diabetic. I am hypertensive. He said, if I take you to my house and you see drugs, he said, the drugs I drink every day are pinning me. He said, I would have been doing bigger things. My drugs eat my money. I was moved. I told her, I said, God can heal you. I hold her hands and I prayed for her in the car. The next morning, she called me. She said, do you know that when I got back home, I didn't feel my symptoms. So I decided to try it. I didn't take my drugs. Unlike before, if I didn't take my drugs, I wake up weak. But I wake up this morning very, very energetic. I said, just keep it low. We prayed again. I said, observe it for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. She called me again, said, do you know, the thing is still working. I've not taken my drugs and I'm healthy. I'm strong. 1 month. On the second month, she said, I can testify it that I'm healed. She now said she was kneeling down, thanking God, and God told her to start doing something for me. So I said, do you want to hear? I said, I don't know whether I would like what you want to say. She said, God told me that anytime I am paid, I should pay my tithe and divide my money into 3. Take 1 for my children, 1 for myself, give you 1. And who was she? She was an internal auditor of a Supreme Court. Internal auditor of a Supreme Court. And I didn't say anything. There are things you will hear. You don't need to say anything. You pretend as if you didn't hear it at all. Sincerely, I pretended as if I didn't hear. But I was shocked at the end of a month. She called me, say, Pastor Combo. I came. Say, this is your own. I want to obey God. I have taken my tithe. This is it. I have kept it. This one belongs to you. I said, like that? That was how she began to pay me. Every month I was chopping alawi. Simply because I have a priesthood shepherd, but I decided to be a priesthood servant. Somebody, things you do for God, do it well. Don't do it as if they are pushing you. Don't do it as if they are begging you. Do it well. There is this God whose eyes are open. He sees. He sees your heart. When I was growing up, what's my mandate? I used to tell God, God, help me. If there's nobody, let it be that Victor is there. Well, let there be nobody, but God, may I be the one. I fasted with this, I prayed with this minute. God, where there's nobody, may heaven see I am the one. And I don't just, I put it to practice. I trek to church most times. 2 hours, I am committed. So committed. You don't need to look for me in church. My business, 2 hours before service, I close. I shut down all my staffs, all of us, to church. I say, what God cannot give us serving him, even if we die in the business, he won't give us. And I shock you, people who were saying, well, no, give time to your business. I outrun them. This God bless me more than them. I'm not teaching you what I've not practiced. Sometimes when I see people, always dragging about business, I say, you don't understand. You don't understand that there's a system to put in place that can make God enlarge you. Somebody, serve the Lord. Put up the oil of priesthood. Put it up. Put it up. Joshua said, I am my house. We shall serve the Lord. I am my house. There was a time, if you're in my house, I'll force you. But after a while, I said, I don't need to force anybody. I resign. I said, I will only teach you. If you want to do. If you don't want to do. Because I know that there are things you are told. As an adult, there are things they don't tell you to do. Ask Bishop, when they were in my house, if you don't come for prayer morning, I will bite you like a scorpion. Because I want you to, because I know the blessing. He's there. Mornings, you didn't come? Hey! As if I would devour you. I did it. I found out that I am only forcing them. It's not with their heart. They will come and pray. Somebody's praying when you know that if you allow me, I won't be here now. So one day the Holy Ghost told me, leave it. I left it. Ladies and gentlemen, it pays to serve. If I open my bank of testimony and share with you what service has done for me, you won't believe it. How many times threatening sicknesses has come against me, but on this altar God took it away. If I open my archives and share with you, you will understand why sometimes when I'm doing things, I do with an energy to God. When I'm, it's like maybe, some of us will feel, Daddy, when I'm doing things, I do it with force. I teach with force. I don't want to stop. It's because of the love of His God, seeing how much He has helped me. I've tricked before in this Accra. I've tricked. I've seen life challenged. But I've also seen how God bailed me. On the altar of loving God. The proof of love is service. The proof of love is service. Do you love God? Don't say I love Him. Prove it with your service. Prove it. Be dangerous in service. Bishop Oyedepo will say, if you want to know me by my heart towards God. He said, it's my heart towards God that has changed my height. Child of God, your heart of commitment towards God, that is what will bring you to a place where men will see you and they will envy you. Serving God with all my heart has given me virtually everything. There's nothing I've ever looked for that God doesn't make happen to me. I pray for somebody. May your heart towards God shift. I say, may you become a priestly servant, operating under a priestly servant. Lift your hand and say, Father, I receive the grace. I'll be a priestly servant. Say it from today. This 2021, I will be a priestly servant. Not because I'm forced to do it, but because I love you so much. And I'm proving to you that I love you. Lift your hand and just ask Him. Somebody, this is a prayer that nobody should tell you to pray. You want mysteries to be demystified. You want what will have stopped you to be arrested. You want your Jericho to enter your hands. You want your portion to be in your hands. Lift that hand above your head and say, Father, I make up my mind that I will be a priestly servant. Ask him for grace. I'll be a priestly servant. I won't wait for them to tell me to begin to serve for me to serve. I will just donate myself. I will release myself. I will by force release myself. Lord, I'm releasing myself to service. From today, I will find what to be doing for God. I will find what to be doing for God. I will get involved. I will create a platform. I will create something. I will begin to give out something. My sweat must go for God. And I must do it not because of what I'm going to get, but because I love this God. Begin to pray, Lord, help me to love you too much that I can serve you too much. Because the size of your love towards God, that's the size of your walk towards God. Lord, may I not just be the one sitting down. Lord, help me. Help me to begin to do something. No position will make me to stop serving. No level will make me to stop serving. Lord, I will find something and attach myself to it. I can teach. I will join foundation school. I can evangelize. I can reach out. I join evangelism team. Lord, I will begin to do something. I will not just be idle in the house of God. Never anymore. I won't be waiting for what God will do for me and not doing the one I should do. Father, I ask for grace. The one I should do, Lord, I will do. So that the one you will do for me, nothing will hinder you doing it. Let it be your prayer this moment. Let it be your prayer this moment. Let it be your prayer this moment. Let it be your prayer. Let it be your prayer. Let it be your heart desire. Thank you, Father. Lift your hand above your head and just move it to Jesus. Tell him, Father, thank you. Thank you for this word I've had today. Lord, may this word never leave me the way I was before. Let the force in this word rise me up. Raise me up. Begin to do the things I should do. Thank you, Father. Put a hand upon your forehead and speak in tongues in a few minutes. Staying and not doing anything in church you shouldn't feel comfortable at all. Coming to a point where you are doing nothing shouldn't give you ease. Shouldn't be comfortable. Tell him, Father God, grant me grace. Grant me the hunger to be consistent. As your hand is upon your head, the grace of God is dropping. The grace of God is dropping. The grace of God is dropping. Thank you, precious Father. I pray for you today. The hand of God is upon you. Grace to serve as a priesthood servant under a priesthood shepherd. Receive that grace in the name of Jesus.